Good morning, terrainiacs. It is Monday morning. We have entered the last week of the Fabled Realms commission. Yeah, you can tell it's the last week of the commission because I've stopped shaving. I'm starting to look a little bit weary. Right, we've got a load of little jobs. At tail end of last episode, we had some problems. Come down to the board. Now, I had real problems airbrushing. Now, I took a day and a half away from it and I'm back in, and to be perfectly honest, it doesn't look that bad. Yeah, but I still have the control issues I had. So moving forward, what I need to do is, well, what I've done is I've borrowed a friend's airbrush, and the battle plan is I'm going to come in and touch this up and hopefully get the control I want to get the woods down. After we get the woods down, the jobs remaining are we have to finish the mountains, then we have to add in all the roads, all the rivers. Luckily there's not actually that many, okay? I mean, we're only talking roads from there to there, a few round here. Is that a road? No, that's not a road, that's a river. And then a few inlets and that sort of stuff. So that's not too bad. Yeah. Now, on top of that, we've got to also, what else have we got to do, Bosicle? We've got to do the name tags, we've got to do the buildings. We've had those from foreground. Yeah, I'll show you those when, when we get a little bit further on. We've got to add the woods, we've got to paint the ocean, we've got to seal it, then we've got to do our water effects, gloss on the ocean. Yeah. And I've got a week to get it all done. Alrighty then. Well, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Let's get cracked on, eh? Don't you love it when a plan comes together? It's all worked a treat. Took about 2 hours all in all, but I did a bit more than I was planning. Obviously it went over the all the greens. Yes, they are very dark at the minute and they are a bit shiny because of the amount of paint I've put on them. That's okay. One, they're going to get covered with clump foliage. Two, it's going to have a matte coat, so I'm not concerned at all. I've also dropped lots of little lines in around the mountains just to sort of break up the grey a bit. Also in between as well, just to help break it up. Yeah, moving down, yeah, we've done all our little spots. And then we've got our ironwood, yeah, which went on really weird. First I tried sort of a browny orange, but because I'd stippled white and this was light, it was sort of making it far brighter, so I went in with a fur brown over the top just to darken it, and it's come out all right. Now once again, I'm not overly concerned because I'm going clump foliage over the top of these, so it's good as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so that's all my airbrushing done. Next job is I want to do a quick, in fact I want to just go over the top of the mountains and dry brush on some snow onto them. Yeah, because I think that's what's needed. I might come in with a little brown wash later on. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, I'm not sure, but I do need to put the snow on the mountains, and then after that I want to put the sea down. Yeah, so that's my battle plan. So snow on mountains, and then that's just going to be a little bit of dry brushing with a little bit of white with a touch of blue on it, so it looks like it's reflecting the sky. Yeah, a little tip from our Fred there. Yeah, moving on. Like I say, it'll be time to tackle the ocean, and hopefully there isn't actually that much ocean to tackle. I remember when I went round with the brush cleaning up all the edges, on the live show, and that took about an hour and a half. So fingers crossed we should get the ocean down today. Fingers crossed. Yeah? And so with that in mind, let's crack on, eh? All change as always. Okay, right. It is not the same day as I started, it's actually the next day. I'm halfway through my session. I painted the sea, yeah, and then I had a chat with Adam at foreground and we talked about the tags, and I realised that the replacement tags that they sent, yeah, on cardboard, I primed them up, but unfortunately they've come out all rough and the detail's gone. So I've had to sort of fall back to say, alright, cut me a fresh set of 2mm. Now the problem with 2mm is if I stack 2mm on top of the tags I had before, yeah, they're going to be too high. So I've taken off all the C tags, sanded those down and repainted them. With regards to the tags on the board, I'm going to sort of wing it. Yeah, a lot of these tags I reckon I can get away with actually being quite proud off the board. Yeah, on top of that I intend to actually get the 2mm tags and sand them down to 1mm, so I still get the quality, yeah, of the tags, but they're a much thinner depth for dropping on top of the more inserted ones, and that should only give me sort of like a rise of a couple of mil. Yeah, so I should be okay. Yeah, fingers crossed. Now, painting wise, yeah, obviously I've done all the sea, we've highlighted all the rocks. I think I'm going to do another little bit of white over the top, yeah, just to really make them pop. Yeah, on top of that, let me bring you in. On top of that, I've spent some time and I've painted in all the rivers, all the roads. They're okay. I mean, they're not brilliant. There's the occasional mistake, but I'm getting used to this, you know. It's done, not perfect. And to be perfectly honest, that's something I need to change as a terrain builder, because I am way too picky and most people don't even see the mistakes I see. Yeah, so I need to get a bit better at that sort of stuff. My next battle plan is I'm going to start tackling the woods, which means all these areas I've darked out and all my spots and that sort of stuff. And to do that, I'm going to use this. I've got this foreground basing foliage, and if I show you, yeah, you can see lots of little clumps of foam. Yeah, I've got 3 main colours. In fact, I've got 4, I should have. I've got a light green, a mid green and a dark green, so there's another green down there somewhere. Yeah, I've got a red, and then I've got a bit of Gale Force 9 ground foliage, which is pretty much the same thing, but with slightly different colours that I can use for this ironwood. Yeah, so that's the battle plan. That's what I intend to do. So I'm going to mix some of these up, and I'm going to vary the colours depending on how high it is on the sort of map, where it's lighter and then coming down to darker. I've got lots of spots to do. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to mix in a little bit of water with them when I mix them, and a little bit of PVA, so they self-seal, or that's the plan anyway. I'm going to give that a go, get it rolling, and then once I've got the technique down, I'll show you what I'm doing, guys. Cracking on time. Well, that was a hell of a job. Many hours spent bent over, back breaking, literally. I'm sitting down right now. So, all the foliage is down, all the woods and everything. Now, I did say I was going to take you through it, but in the end, I decided what I was going to do is, rather than complicate it and try and seal it and everything in one go, all I'd do was lay raw PVA down over all my dark patches, and then simply come in and add my foliage. But I haven't just piled it on and let it stick. I've gradiated it. Now, going up, what we've got is, we've got a standard mix. Yeah, now this is 3 colours. These 3 colours here. Okay, and what I did is, with this lighter colour, I added that a lot more in the north in the first mix. So I started at the top, and to get my really light, dry areas in the north, yeah, I used a lot of that and a little bit of the mid-tone. Coming down into the larger forests of the Teutonberg and the Gorian and the Slovenian, that was pretty much a mix of all 3, of roughly equal measures, yeah, and it's worked rather well. Then moving slightly down, what I did is I removed that from the mix, leaving me with, yeah, a 2-tone. And I use this in the south of the board, and specifically I've used it in the alpine areas, or the mountainous areas should I say. Yeah, because I wanted to sort of simulate evergreens, you know, and I think that works, and I don't think light works in the mountains. And personally, I think it's turned out beautiful. A little touching up here and there as I've gone, yeah, really, it's worked really well. Now obviously you can see the bright red, yeah, of the ironwoods of Trogvast and the Akurian tribes and the Sindarin Isles. Yeah, now for this, yeah, I used cherry blossom, and I also used, yeah, some of Gale Force 9's hobby, yeah, because it was just easier to get a bit of variation in, and I wasn't doing that many. Now I will admit, yeah, it came out a bit like that, yeah, just a lot more it. Yeah. Now I will admit that it's a little bit brighter than I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with a brown ink wash, yeah, during the sealing stage, and that should, yeah, just finish it off nicely, so to speak. It should just darken it just nicely. Now, when it comes to sealing, all I'm going to do is, I've got quite a bit of volume here, Okay, now it isn't, it's kind of stuck on by its own static rather than the glue. Yeah, the glue's gripped really well on the smaller bits and that sort of stuff, but in these large bits where I've piled it up to get the idea of a bit of volume, yeah, it's the static between the clumps that's holding everything together. So I've got, when it comes to varnishing, to sealing the board, I'm going to use a spray varnish. Now a spray varnish is a surface varnish, which means it won't penetrate into these clumps and these areas, which essentially will mean it'll be glued at the bottom, it'll be sealed at the top and loose in between, which is not a good thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some watered down PVA. I'm probably going to go 1:5 ratio. I'm then going to come along with a dropper bottle or a little syringe, and I'm just going along where I've got large clumps. Yeah, I'm just going to seal those up by just putting a few drops in, and then we're going to do the ink stain on that. And with that being done, other than the sea, it's pretty much there. I have noticed I've got a little river I've got to paint there, and I've got a little road I've got to paint there. Yeah, so I've got to get those done as well. Yeah, so, shall I? I shall. Let's crack on. While that's sealing, I'd like to welcome you to the desk of clutteredness. Right, what we've got here, Boasticle, we've got tons of stuff, guys, absolutely tons. Right, this is the laser cut stuff, and specifically the iconography of the map. Okay, so what I've got is I've got some various stars that Adam's cut out for me, yeah, that I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with and how I'm going to make them, look like compasses. And currently what I'm thinking is I only really need one compass on the map. I've been looking at the various bits and that sort of stuff and what I can do. And what I'm thinking is I've got these two pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint these elements red and then glue them together. And I think just on their own that'll look perfect. If I need to come in and do a little bit of extra work, I can. Yeah, but I think that's what I want to do on this one, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, so that's the plan for the compass. Dead simple, just paint these bits red. Yeah, layer this over the top. Yeah, hold it in place with some clamps while it dries, and then we'll glue it onto the board. All done. After that, the other issue is I've got these nameplates. I was originally thinking about doing them in brass. I'm not sure now. I did think I had another nameplate, but I'm wondering if I've thrown it away by accident, which would be typical me. Yeah, in the cream style, which would work really well. So I'm going to have a nose, see if I can see that. If not, I'm thinking we'll do it in a cream, we'll give it a wash, and we'll see how that goes. Now finally what we've got is all of these. Now these are the little buildings off the map. Okay, and my battle plan with these is this is what we've put all those location markers in, all those little round slots. And I'm going to do these red like the map. Now at first I was going to prime them, yeah, but then I actually thought, you know what, yeah, MDF is notorious for soaking up water-based paints, but I can use that to my advantage, yeah, because my original idea was I'll prime them, then I'll give them a wash, and then I'll mount them on the board. But if I come in with a thin down red, I'll be able to give them the red tone, but still keep the laser cutting, okay? And that's the battle plan. Now I've got an absolute ton of these, yeah, because I've got a ton of locations. I'm going to do two, I need to make sure I do one of those as well, because that's a tiny little one, yeah, that I think belongs there. That doesn't look right. We'll figure that out as we go. We've got plenty spare, but I'll do two of the big ones, and I'll probably do about 4 of the little ones. Yeah, the reason being is that should be enough, and if I do run out for whatever reason, yeah, then my battle plan is I've got spares, or if I do it wrong, should I say. In fact, 3 should do it. Let's do 4. 2 of those, 4 of those, and we'll crack on with that. Right, so that's the battle plan. I'm dinging. I better get painting, hadn't I? So the ceiling's all done. I'm waiting for the MDF stuff to dry so I can put a little bit of wash on it, but they've turned out lovely. Right. onto the oceans. Yeah, now before I move on to the oceans with the ceiling, you can see the hint of brown in the watchel in the woods now, far better. I went over it, and instead of using the syringe, it was just too heavy, so I went over it with an airbrush very lightly. Yeah, I had to be light so I didn't disturb it and blow it all off all over the place, and gave it a light coat. I waited for that to dry, which gripped all the top coat, and then I could go in a lot heavier, yeah, and sort of give it a better soaking of PVA. And once these are dry, I'm 100% sure they're going to be perfect. Yeah, and I'm well happy with them. Now, while they dry and my my MDF stuff dries, I want to do some work on the ocean. Now, what I've got here is, I've just got a plastic sheet, I've got my original ocean colour with a bit of black acrylic mixed in, and I've got some sea sponges, yeah, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to stipple it. Yeah, now I've got to be careful because I don't want this to fall everywhere and make a hell of a mess, and you know what I mean. Yeah, but basically I'm thinking something along these lines. So put a bit on there, move that around a bit, and all this is darker, so I only really want this in the centre areas, yeah, where I want to darken it up. Obviously I've got to be careful, I don't want to get it on the coastline. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around and I'm going to stipple it like that. When it dries, it'll increase the depth of the dark of the deeper areas, which is what I'm aiming for. So I better crack on. We're getting to the final hurdle, folks. Okay, right. Let's take you through the steps. First off, the ceiling. Yeah, the watered down PVA worked really well. I mean, this is pretty stuck fast. I mean, if I hammer it, yeah, it is going to break off like any foliage, yeah, but there's still the sealing coat of the spray varnish to go over this, so that's going to toughen it up even more. So I'm completely happy with how all the woods have turned out. Yeah, a little bit of what you call it, a little bit of an ink wash airbrushed onto these, darken them down, and that's turned out beautifully. Yeah, the stippling. Yeah, I went for the base colour, I mixed in a little bit of black to sort of get an area of depth, and you can see that on the video, and then I mixed in just a little bit more and just did selective points, yeah, where I had got the largest areas, just to increase that. Now, I do intend to put resin in this with a tint, so it isn't a perfect paint job, and I don't need to worry about that because the resin will sort all that. Okay, so that's the stippling. Okay, that's the ceiling. I did also go round the entire frame and just touch that up again after all our dry brushing and all that sort of stuff, just to clean it up, yeah, and really just frame it well. It's really coming together. Really, I want to pick that bit off. Didn't like that one bit, just that one bit. Yeah, now my next job is, yeah, this is either going to be really easy or it's going to be a bitch. Yeah, I've got to add the name tags back in. Now, before I add the name tags, I've got some other things. I've got the Fabled Realms, yeah, matte panel. I've decided to keep this just as it is because it's in fitting with the other, yeah, panels rather than spraying it brown or wherever, spraying it bronze. So that's going to be going up there. Okay, after that we have, yeah, this compass point. Okay, and that was really easy. I just sprayed the one underneath red, yeah, then mounted the other one on top of it, held them together with some clips, and hey presto. And I even did a little N for north. So that's the compass. That's going to go on somewhere around about here, I reckon. After that, yeah, we've got these name tags. Now I've got a whole set. I've got Adam down at foreground to redo me a whole set. And these are going to be a bit challenging. Some of them are just going to drop on quite cleanly, yeah. Others I'm probably going to have to sand down to thin them down a bit, yeah, but that's why I don't know how long today's going to be, whether it's going to be a long day or a short day. We will find out soon enough, that's for sure. Okay, and then finally, our little buildings. Okay, and look how they turned out. Beautiful. Yeah, it was just a really quick airbrush. Yeah, and I sort of airbrushed coming down, yeah, first, so I could highlight the top of the buildings. The trick was to sort of not go excessive so that the paint soaked in and the laser staining soaked through to keep the details. So I've got a ton of these, and I've got some big ones. Yeah, they're the big ones. And they're exactly off the map. Okay, so it's perfect. So I'll be dropping these in as well. Yeah, so that's the battle plan for today. Glue this stuff on. Yeah, a little bit of touching up. Yeah, just a couple of little things. I want to paint the wall down here red and a couple of other little stuff. But, yeah, it's really coming together. Now, my next job is to find out how much of a job this is going to be. And hopefully it ain't going to be too much of a job. You know what I mean? Right, crack on. Well, that's all the name tags in, and it's come together beautifully. Yeah, what happened was when I started placing the name tags, I did the most obvious ones first, so being the sea, adding on the compass, the map panel, and then I started adding the forest. And when I had the forest, the tags disappeared into the woodlands, so they weren't so pronounced. Now, I'd originally written off putting the tags directly straight on top of the piece when we'd first done all the foam, because it looked it didn't look right. But now the woods are on it and everything else, and the mountains and everything, having the tags actually raised off actually does work. Now, there is another reason why they're raised off. Adam sent me 2 sets of tags, and I tried sort of sanding down the first set to make them a bit thinner. And what happened was I completely screwed up at the top, the detailing, and I didn't want to risk doing it with my only other set, yeah, and completely kiboshing the project. So what I've done is just a tiny amount of PVA on these tags, which means in the future, yeah, if Foreground want me to, I can come along with a little blade, pop the excessive ones off and replace them with thinner tags when we've got spares and all that sort of stuff. But even so, I don't think it's really needed. I quite like how they raise up because all the other features work. It'd be a little bit better if they were a little bit recessed, and in hindsight, perhaps I should have come up with some sort of placement tags that these tags could sit in and be recessed slightly. So the challenge was embedding them, keeping them clean whilst patching them in and painting everything up. Whew, it was a challenge and a half. Now, the remaining job on this is I've got to spray varnish it, okay, with a matte sealer, yeah, just to seal it all off, and then we've got to put the resin in and just final couple of little touch-ups, okay. But you're going to have to wait for the next episode to see that, yeah, because this is essentially all the landmass is done. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up around about here. Listen, sorry this project is taking so long, but I'm enjoying it.
Hello.
And we've got a little Willow in the studio, hiding under my table. So yes, we're wrapping this up right now. Yeah, because Dad's got some daddy duties to do, haven't I?
Yeah. Teach out and stick light.
See. Anyway. Yeah, let Dad finish this off. Right, guys, obviously, any questions, any comments in the comments. And remember, yeah, this is also going on over at Beasts of War, so there's a link in the description to where you can join them and follow the project log over there. Apologies, I haven't been brilliant at keeping that up to date. It's commissions and Mel, isn't it? Yeah. Also, obviously, like it if you like it. Share if you know anyone who's interested. And if you really do like this video and what I'm taking you on this jolly, then remember you can jump on Patreon and support the channel. The link will pop up. Or if you're not into the monthly thing, you don't fancy pledging $1 a month to keep the lights going and keep the content coming, you can do it as a one-off down below and just send a little gift via PayPal. It all keeps, Mel in his happy place, and the kids coming here and us having adventures. But in the meantime, I've got to prep this.
If you haven't yet, subscribe.
Yeah, and subscribe, yeah, but my next job is I've got to teach Willow to stick fight. I've got to get this ready for varnishing, and then ready for the resin cast, and then ready for delivery.
Ready?
Yeah, one more. Right, that's enough. No more stick fighting. I'll see you soon, guys. All the best.
Bye.
Ta-da.